You're listening to the Joe Camo Show. Real sports, real talk.
All right, welcome to the show. I've got Cecil Grimes, producer, actor, cosplay. You have so many titles. What do you, you look exactly like Rick, what is it, Rick Grimes there from Walking Dead. I was like, wow.
That's what kind of spurred the whole change in my direction. Yeah, good old Rick has changed my life.
Yeah. So you actually got the voice down too. It's not just like the look. You've actually nailed down the whole personality, haven't you?
Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of a natural fit. You watch it long enough, and you get really, really into it. It just kind of melts in you, and it's been good to me. Still
Yeah,
surviving.
if you're a Walking Dead fan, this is the episode for you. Now, with the Joe Camo Show, my goal is like I've got Ken Shamrock probably coming on next week. I've got
Nice.
Chris Johnson on. I've had my whole thing is I just want to get guests that are interesting to me that I find fascinating. I don't know if you know this, if you've checked back. I don't know if you've seen the other shows, Cecil, but I've actually had the guy that plays Mr. T, the actual impersonator for Mr. T. Have you met him yet? Supreme T?
No, I have not.
I've had him and I've had the Macho Man impersonator on. He actually got a
Nice.
call from a network and actually got on a reality show. So these guys doing amazing jobs, impersonating these legends. It's been pretty crazy. It was a good conversation I had with both those guys.
That's awesome. I get random open calls, audition. They're looking for roles and such like that. I just got an email yesterday, and it had a list of 8 different people that they wanted to do. They needed for impersonating lookalikes.
Right.
And I wasn't on the list, but there was 2 guys on there that were on the list that I knew the lookalikes that would do it. So I forwarded it to them, and they're already contacting it. It's an alcohol commercial.
Right.
It was really cool, So I'm waiting for Andrew. I guess that would be really appropriate for Andrew Lincoln. I don't think he drinks.
Have you met Andrew? Does he know who you are?
He does. He does. Yeah, I met him 2017 at Walker Stalker convention in Atlanta, the big Walking Dead, convention, Comic-Con, you say. And we finally met that time, and it was amazing. I wasn't expecting to meet him. But the owner took me back behind his booth because he said something to me at his panel on stage, when everybody was trying to say hello to him. And so I got to meet him, and it was quite the experience.
What do you say? Like, how does Andrew Lincoln, the guy that plays Rick on Walking Dead, he's well known, his face is well known. I think everybody, if you don't watch Walking Dead, you've heard of it. And if you don't watch it, faithfully, you have at least probably have seen an episode. It's one of those shows that I think everybody's watched an episode, is aware of it. So how did he react to you? Like when he saw you, he's like, holy crap. It's like, wow.
Actually, I thought I favored him. People obviously think I look like him, but I wasn't really that locked in until I met him, and we stood looking at each other, and I remember him saying, I was just stared, and he said, "Oh, that's so weird," in his light British accent, and it actually made me dizzy for a moment, because if you stare at yourself in a mirror, you kind of get locked in, and
Right.
when the image moves and you don't, something weird happens, and I was like, "Oh, that is awesome!" And so we did a selfie together. He was very polite. He's a very light spoken,
Right.
British man. And then Michael Rooker comes running up behind us, and he jumps in and did some selfies with us also. Michael Rooker being Merle from the show.
Right.
And the Guardians of the Galaxy was his big next hit after that. And he would jump into my booth at different conventions when he was there. Just a really wonderful guy. So Michael Rooker, really appreciate the love he's shown me and the whole group.
You don't see it now with me. I don't like to talk too much about myself, but when I was younger, I had a shaved head. I was a little bit leaner, and it was when The Walking Dead was huge with Shane. Shane was a huge character. I used to get it. Like, I looked exactly like, I don't look at it like as much now, but there was points where people were actually, someone came up to me and asked for an autograph. I'm trying to pull up an image. I put it on my Instagram. It was like me and him side by side. And I'm telling you, I look like Shane from Walking Dead. What's his name? John
Berthal.
Bernthal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was more of this, like, and the thing with me is, if you see me in real life, I look a little bit different than I do on camera or in photos. So when people see me and they look at the side profile, they're like, holy crap, you look like him.
Yeah, you've got the same dip in your nose. That's
That's
fantastic.
what it is. Yeah, it's one of the side right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, he
Kind
got
of
a little
see that?
dip there. It is a
Yeah.
little bit more pronounced, but no, that I could see that absolutely.
And I had the shaved head, and when I was a little younger, and The Walking Dead was going. So I'm trying to pull up that picture as we're
Oh,
talking. If
that's
I can
fun.
find it, I'll pull it up. I put it on my Instagram a while ago. I've tagged him. He never replied back or anything. I know athletes do. Like I'm in the, I do a lot of NFL analysis. So I piss off a lot of, if you don't follow my channel, you know that I call out players and they react back. It's kind of a norm thing. So my next level is trying to get the attention of some celebrities here and get them to react back. It'll be kind of funny, actually.
Yeah.
So, John, I'm trying to find that picture here. So, are you still watching Walking Dead? Me and the wife are caught up. Like, we're just like, it's one of those shows. Like, I think for you, by the way, I think this would be one of those shows that'll just go on forever. I don't think you'll ever be. I think it's kind of recession proof to the point where I think you can play this character for a long time. It'll always be something in Comic Cons for the rest of our lives, anyway. But do you still watch the show? Like, where are you at with the show? How far are you into it? Are you totally dedicated to watching it?
No, I wish I would say I am, and I would if I had it. I canceled my cable.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and so I actually, I've caught up to last season, but not this season. Um, so I am behind. I am
Yep.
embarrassed to say, but with everything going on, no conventions. I didn't. Well, if I'm on the road all the time, I didn't want to pay for cable.
No,
Simple as
I
that.
don't think
You
anyone's
know?
got cable now. Everyone's
Yeah,
streaming. I mean, if you get Netflix, I think you can get all of the episodes, but you're always like a season behind. So make sure you get
season
caught up
behind.
or stream
Yeah,
it somewhere. You definitely need to get caught up. It's one of those shows. It's like, and Rick isn't even in it. Like, what's going on with
no.
him? I think he got abducted or something by some garbage girl. She was like in the garbage clan, and then he never came back. So do you know what's going on with that? Like, you probably have some insight as you play him. Like,
Oh
what's
yeah.
going on with Rick right now?
Yeah, in the last scene of like was it season 9? He got blown up on the bridge,
Yeah.
knocked out, washed down the river. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert! If anybody hasn't caught up, spoiler alert! Or we're going
Yeah.
to talk about the show. Gets washed down the river. Garbage. Pollyanna picks him up and flies him in the helicopter to what they call Commonwealth, which is
Right.
another development or society in the
Right.
in the comic book. Commonwealth appears to be they've decided to put it on an aircraft carrier, and he signed a major motion picture deal to make 3 movies, Walking Dead movies,
Okay.
just for the theaters, and they've made one. And the word is that they haven't made the other 2 because they're waiting to see how the first one does in the theaters. And it's been really weird because it's bounced back and forth from only a theater release to a made for TV AMC movie, back to the theater, back and forth. I don't know what was going on there, but it has not been released because of COVID. But the movie is about him there on the in Commonwealth.
So he's
Um,
busy. Like, is that why he hasn't been able to play on the show?
well, no, I think I don't know what the real kind of motivation was, but every time he did finish filming, he was on a plane back to London to be with his wife and family. And after 9 years of puddle jumping, I think he was ready to take a break, or he wanted to move into that higher level of a movie star instead of
Right.
a episode star. And I'm sure the money talks, but so he made that one movie. He was supposed to make 3. The only one I'm aware of is the first one that they made. But The Walking Dead has been announced that this is the final season.
Right.
So it's gonna be 24 episodes, and so it will not complete until 2022,
Okay.
which that's kind of like 2 more seasons anyway. But
Yeah.
they're calling it the
It
final
is.
season. But the word is that he is going to pop back into the final season, the episodes of the final season, and then of course he's got possible more movies to make depending on how this one movie does. And then on top of that, they've got The World Beyond, which is the third spinoff. So you got The
Wow.
Walking Dead, you got the Fear of the Walking Dead, now you got the World. Is it World Beyond?
I don't know. I don't follow
I
it
think
that heavily. Like, I'm not religious about this stuff. I'll just catch a season. But yeah, I mean, it's my question is
yeah,
how much
World
longer can
Beyond.
they drag this on? I mean, I thought, and I like Negan now. I like the character Negan. I think it's Jeffrey Dean Morgan, right? That plays that
Yep,
character.
Jeff.
I think he looks like a nice guy. I follow him on Instagram. Super nice guy, but I hated that character. When the part where he took off that guy's head, I was like, dude, we got to kill this guy off in the show. And then sure enough, he just kept surviving and surviving and surviving. And then we started becoming a likable character. And then
Yep.
I actually like him now. And I never thought I did, but it's like they really drag things on, I find. And I don't know when there's going to be an end to this. Like it's so far gone. I mean, it's been like 10 years, right? Plus.
Yeah. They've got, the three spinoffs now, all running at the same time. Yeah, one, two, and three. I think they did the Fear of the Walking Dead because they wanted to be out of the constraints of the comic book.
Right.
Everything that goes on in the original, the pure Walking Dead, is adapted from the comic book, and I'm sure there's other reasons why they wanted to do a spinoff other than getting every last drop out of the Walking Dead juggernaut that it is. But no, I think like, obviously, like Elvis, The Walking Dead has decided to leave the room. Well, they're still I guess kind of on top,
Yeah.
and they're letting the Fear of the Walking Dead. I hear a lot of people are loving it now. I never got into the Fear of the Walking Dead, and they said that they did pick up that people are really into it. So I've definitely got to catch up on the Fear. And then the World, I've read a lot of reviews on the World Beyond, and there so far there is not a real love for the show.
Okay.
They're saying it's slow. And again, the Fear of the Walking Dead, if I remember correctly, it was kind of slow and kind of awkward when it first started up. But I guess any new series,
You're gonna have your
it's
bias to that. You're gonna because you're biased to those characters. It's very
right.
hard to spin off something that on that magnitude. Like when you look at even wrestlers these days, like I had the Macho Man impersonator on, and like there is no character like that that's larger than life, and it's very very hard to replicate something that was so good, right?
The magic, yeah,
Yeah.
it touches so many different genres, so many different lifestyles. Yeah, love the show, and from what I've seen, been around the world over two times to all these comic conventions. The love and the fandom is just everywhere, every corner. I got people in South Korea that follow me. It's just it's South America is huge. Germany, they love Walking Dead there. I mean, it's just amazing to see one show that could pull the entire planet together.
Yeah, and you can
It's so
follow him,
cool.
Cecil Grimes Cosplay on Instagram. That's you've got a good account there. You can see all the pictures there. Cecil Grimes Cosplay. I did
Thank you.
find that image, by the way. I'm gonna pull
Okay,
it up right here
let's
if I
see
can
let's
find.
see that Shane.
I had the screenshot. Now I lost it. So where is it? Right here. So I'm gonna hold it up to your camera. You kind of see a little bit there,
Oh yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit there. So I'm
absolutely.
gonna hold it up to the camera here. I don't know if it'll focus in here, but you can see it on my Instagram anyway. It's kind of focused. I got a 4K camera, the Sony, and basically it's focusing on me. It doesn't even want to focus on the product. It's such a good camera that it doesn't want to take attention away from me. Yeah, I mean, I used to get it a lot. It was again like I don't do what you do, but I know how it feels to be like that because again, it was on a daily basis, especially when that show was like it was like season 1 or 2 was out, and again, I was looking the way that I did, super lean, shaved head, walked around. Like I said, I got stopped. So I kind of have a sample of what it feels like, but how does it feel like for you to look like him? First of all, when you're not in character, I know
Hmm.
you naturally kind of look like him more than a lot than 99% of the people do. So if you're not in character, do you still get recognized? Like kind of like, hey, you're that guy, or do you have to be in full character to really like, wow? How does it? How
No,
does it
no, I still get it every day,
feel everywhere? Yeah.
every day, everywhere I go. And it helps, when I do wear a hat, but I still get it when I don't wear the hat. So it's still there's still a lot of Rick lovers out there. And yeah, now I actually start bartending.
Okay.
So that in itself, I'm having a Walking Dead Sundays coming up soon,
Wow.
and they're opening the bar just for me to market my and watch The Walking Dead. So so it's still out there. The love of them is still out there. Everybody's wanting it to come back. Everybody's saying, "When's Rick coming back?" Just like you asked, and I tell them what I know. So once he does make his reappearance in the movie and in the series, that will reignite his fandom.
Now you told me you're a single guy, so I don't know if you have any girlfriends. I don't want to know, but like, how is this with the ladies? Does it work? Do the girls like this?
You definitely have a
Ed?
introduction, an automatic introduction.
Yeah, it
Absolutely.
makes it easier for sure. It's the icebreaker. I had this girl on the other day. She's a sports female influencer. She didn't know much about pickup artistry, and that was something I was very familiar with in my single days. One of the hardest parts is that ice breaking conversation because you got to break the ice. A lot of guys have approach anxiety. I never did, but a lot of people did. with you, I mean, do they approach you or do you, it's just easy, like, hey, what's up? And they're like, is it always kind of like, oh, you look like, do you get that a lot with the women?
Yeah, I get a lot of, do you know who you look like? And it's like,
Yeah.
no, who?
You got to play it up, right?
I play it up, and then halfway through the conversation, I'll give them a card, and they're like, "Oh, okay," with all my social media and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's been good to me. It's been great,
When did you
meeting some
discover
of the people.
this? Sorry to interrupt. When did you discover this? So is like season one, bam, I look like him, or is this like a gradual thing? And when did you start doing this as a profession? But like, and when did you realize I kind of look like him and I should do this as a profession?
Well, yeah, it was. I was working at the bank, and it was 2015.
Okay.
When and so that would have been what was it? The end of season three,
Something like
about
that.
that
Yeah.
time. And remember when he first came on, he was skinny, didn't have a beard. He just had
Right.
a scruff, and then he went to the heavier beard with the prison. And that was, I think that was right there at season three. And I decided to grow out my mustache for Men's Health Month in
Right.
November, mustache November. And I just went ahead and started growing the whole face. I was like, I can get away with it at work. And that's as soon as I got to that one point where it rounded out my jaw, that's when everybody was saying, you look like, people were taking pictures. And that's before I only caught the first two episodes of the show and then
Right.
missed the show because, I was working long hours. So on Sunday, I was doing something else. And so I was like, that sounds cool. Well, I just now found out about comic conventions. I said, maybe I should, you know, try to, to get a wardrobe and do Rick. And the first thing I did was go to a zombie walk in my town, and it just in a terrible outfit. Nothing was, authentic. Everything was kind of mismatched, and people loved it. So then I got the real wardrobe and went to MegaCon in Orlando. That's one of the biggest conventions here on the East Coast, just short of New York Comic Con, and that was when I realized, okay, there's something to this. I mean, it was fantastical. The people were just excited about it, and I stood in one corner of that convention hall the entire day with a line of people to take pictures. I didn't get to see anything in the booth. I
Wow.
literally took pictures all day after paying to get in. And then, of course, I got some free photographs, photo sessions out of it, and won the Walker Stalker Rick Grimes lookalike contest. And
Wow. So it's
that's
like
what really
you're
stood
not a
out.
celebrity technically, but like you kind of went into this and it feels like a celebrity, right? Like you weren't, you're obviously not a celebrity, neither am I, but like you kind
Yeah.
of got into this and you're just like, hey, even with me, I'm a fantasy analyst. When I go to like fantasy football conventions, I get recognized, stuff like that. But it's like, how did it feel? Like, did it feel like, oh my God, like I'm kind of like a celebrity now? Is that kind of the feeling you get now?
Oh yeah, I mean, but I was treated like A-list anywhere I went, and it was really neat to experience it. People said, you're so lucky, and I was like, yeah, no, but I realized that I don't deserve this. Somebody else has got the talent. I just happen to look like them. And as when I started to go to conventions, that's when I don't know if you saw that on my site. I'm only a cosplayer. I'm also a set player,
Right.
and I was seeing that cosplayers weren't building anything around their costume.
What's the
So,
difference? What's the difference? Cosplayer and set player.
well, cosplayer is costume play. So you're
Okay.
building a costume around you.
Oh,
Set
okay.
play is the set. So I'm taking some from the show and building it homemade to resemble the show.
Okay.
So I'm a cosplayer inside of a set. So and set play, and whether a cosplayer uses just a backdrop or they start to use props and they start to use structure, I just took it to the next level that I wasn't seeing. Cosplayers weren't doing that because they were putting everything into their costume and had their table with their pictures. I was a one trick pony. I was Rick. So I was like, you know what? I don't have a lot of, things to offer. So, maybe I'm going to build something. And it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. I built the prison, then I built Alexandria, and these are 10 foot by 20 foot, 16 foot high, eh, uh, you know, sets that I built.
Right.
And because of that, I started getting even more features around the North America, and Canada, and my numbers got so big. That's when I started getting called from overseas, and they were flying me overseas.
Wow.
And what to get back to your question, does it feel like I'm a celebrity? Obviously, I appreciate that it's Andrew Lincoln that got me to where I'm at because I'm just impersonating him. But I was in New York City, and it happened in Miami. I'll be walking across the street, and they're like, "Aren't you?" And I know they're going to say Andrew Lincoln. Aren't you Cecil Grimes?
Yeah.
And that's when it really, I was like, wow, yes, I am. I was recognized for what I've accomplished with the
Wow.
cosplay and the set play, as opposed to just saying that I was somebody that looked like, an A-list star. And that's really, really, it was very cool that the efforts I put into it were recognized.
Speaking of that, do you think that when you find your wife, or if you want to get married, I'm not sure your situation, or a girlfriend, do you think they're going to see you for Cecil? Do you think initially, like, how do you get past that first barrier? Because they're kind of now being attracted to Rick Grimes and that character. And then, like, how do you kind of peel that layer off and say, this is me? Do you have that issue initially, knowing that it's kind of like being a celebrity? If I'm Leonardo DiCaprio, hey man, or Denzel, I'm walking down the street, they're gonna like me for Denzel. They're not gonna be able to see right in. They're gonna see that character. Do you have that issue, and do you think that's gonna be an issue attracting the future wife or whatever you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that with other cosplay lookalikes. You get somebody's attracted to you, and they're saying that they're attracted to you, but you got to peel back their layers to see what kind of
What's their motive?
psyche is going on, because there's the situations where they've gotten with lookalikes just because they love the star so much,
Right.
and then that's not a good base to build upon.
No.
My past relationships were I was lucky they weren't watching the show,
Oh,
so
okay. That's a good
it's like, yeah. But again, being on tour, being on the road, being someone that's constantly asked for photos, it takes a unique partner to be able to put up with that. I love it. I'll stop eating a steak, a bite at a restaurant,
yeah.
and stand up and take a picture and not even think of anything about it. But other, the significant other or somebody with you might find that as rude or something like that. And I'm like, no, this is how I pay my bills. I'm glad people still recognize me. I'll do it. I'll do a picture anytime.
I'm
So
a big
that's
fan of Jeffrey. Sorry, I'm a big fan of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, right?
yeah.
Negan. I'm a huge fan of him. Have you met him yet or no?
I have, and he was great. He's a great guy. I'm tell you what, there's been a couple of conventions where he's been there until I think almost midnight, when
Hmm.
the convention closes at 6 or 8 o'clock, taking pictures because they got behind. The camera system went down or something was misscheduled, and he stood there and he did that for his fans to the very end. And Norman Reedus will do that too. When they do that, they show that they have integrity, because these guys are millionaires, multi-millionaires.
Yes, he looks like a nice guy. Like I can tell, get that vibe of energy off people. And I haven't met him, but I can just tell that Negan is genuinely a good soul. And I'd like to meet him one day. I'm gonna put you on the spot here. I want to do one. You can get into character for 30 seconds, can't you?
I'll try.
Okay, I just want to do one line from Jeffrey Dean Morgan Negan. I want to say one line. I just want to see how you react to it. All right.
All right.
I'm not a good actor though, but one line. Little pig, let me in. That's all I know.
Oh, that's like, you told me I had a week. What are
Yeah,
you doing here now,
that's pretty good.
Egan?
What's weird? Why is this character so on edge all the time? The guy needs to do a shot. Rick, don't you think?
Rick, yeah, it depends on
Survival,
season to
right?
season. Yeah, it's what he's been through.
Yeah, he's
People
been
he's
through a lot.
lost.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
It's just loss
hard.
after loss after. It's
It's
so
hard to be a
hard.
survivor. Lost Lori and Carl,
Yes.
Jesse.
That's it.
God, they all die. Glenn, Abraham, shit. I'm just well, hold on a second. I gotta check something. All right, there we go.
Oh my god. And even Daryl's a bit of a tight guy too. Like he's a stiff, isn't he?
Daryl?
Yeah, he's a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah, he's got that character down. You know, scruffy, tough guy, but sensitive. Boy, what the women love him.
Well, that's
Nora
why.
Reedus.
Well, that's why I like Negan so much, because he's been able to, especially in the latest seasons, he's been able to add a lot of comic relief to the show as well. It's been really nice.
Right. Yeah, that's a hell of a role that they handed him, and he was able to develop. Just fantastic to watch. The couple of episodes after Rick left, were it hurt me because it's unbelievable.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
I think when he comes riding down the motorcycle on the road, and she just happened to be in that road and shot him with a gun, and knocked him off the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. It was seemed like a stretch. So it kind of hurt my feelings that you got a multi-billion-dollar show when you put the merchandise in with it, and you got this kind of writing. So I know that they hand it off. They have different directors, they have different writers for different seasons or episodes. But I was like hoping. I was like, come on, get your game together. We got to make this work.
I want to see. How do he does the Carl? How does he do the Carl? He says
Coral. It's
Carl.
coral. Coral.
He
Coral.
really gets. He builds it up.
Coral. Yeah. I've actually got on my game streaming. I've got all the audio clips that with the Twitch game streaming, you can do bits or whatever, and you can play the sounds. I've got a Carl with 4 or 5 Carls all different put together in
Yeah.
one strip, and I was like, I get it. It's Coral.
I hated the first couple seasons when she, his wife didn't. She thought he died. I think this is going back, but then she cheats on him with Shane. I didn't like that. And then eventually,
Yeah.
I think he kills Shane, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, remember Shane?
Yeah.
You're not a good father, Rick. Yeah, Shane usually ends up dying. I think. Oh, that's right. My conscience is clear. He came at me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's always an excuse for killing somebody.
Right.
So what's next for you? What's the game plan? First of all, has COVID really affected you? Obviously, because you can't do these conventions. That's kind of how you made money. So how have you been able to monetize this? Are you using apps to kind of do shout outs and stuff like that? Like, what are you doing to maintain an income with this particular job? It's hard,
Yeah,
right?
I'm glad you asked that. Yeah, 'cause, I was contacted by Cameo, which
Yeah,
is
Cameo.
which
Yeah.
is an amp, and actually I have 2 more cameos to do today that were ordered last night and the day before,
Yeah.
and those are shout outs for people for all different type of things, for birthdays, for graduating, a college or whatever it may be. So that's a little bit of supplemental. Um, I went through real estate school and passed that test,
Okay.
and right when I passed that school, we locked down for COVID.
Okay.
So I wasn't able to take the final state test to be
Uh,
officially a real estate agent. So I'm actually right now this month cramming to take the test by the end of the month. And obviously, was it been 10 months with no comic conventions?
right.
So I started bartending at a local, South Beach style bar, and
Yeah.
that's been excuse me, a lot of fun. I'm still doing Twitch game streaming, which that started right out the bat. It was doing great, but I had some family tragedies. Both my parents passed away,
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
and
that. When did that happen?
mom was October and dad was March this year.
Oh, wow. I'm
And
sorry to hear that.
thank you. And their house is in probate. You know how that we're in Florida. I'll tell you what, when you pass away, if you're not in a trust, it's a pain in the butt. And while I was watching the house before we could put it up for sale, a pipe broke,
Oh, yeah.
filled the house with water. So now it's been rebuilding the house through insurance, and so all that stuff came about, and then I started bartending. So my game streaming kind of went off to the wayside, and I'm getting back into it again. But again, real estate, I've got so many people have contacted me. They like to have Rick as one of the realtors.
Right. Rick the
Yeah,
Realtor. I like this.
Rick
I
the
like
realtor.
that. You could actually brand yourself. I mean, you got to watch obviously with the trademarks, but you could call yourself Cecil Grimes, Real. I don't know what you call Rick the Realtor is a nickname. It doesn't infringe on any trademark, in my opinion. I mean, I think that'd be fine, but that would be a huge branding play for you in a local area. Florida's something, realtor, scary realtor,
There's a lot you could do with it, and with
play on it.
Florida, we have 7 states that I could be a realtor in. So definitely Georgia's one of them.
Yeah.
So Georgia, Florida, multiple realtor license to be able to sell homes.
You could play
Uh,
off
Pretty good.
survival and something. I'm trying to think of a tagline that you could use, but there's so many angles you can go with this, right?
Oh yeah. I can imagine the big billboard next to the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah, buy a house from me, or else
Yeah. You'll need to do that. Yeah. Don't
you have
get
no
bit.
idea who you're working with.
Don't let the market bite you. Well, I got
Right there, you go.
so I've got it already. I'm good at marketing. But yeah, I don't want to get too much into the sad part. But yeah, I lost my dad in 2015. I know the feeling of it, and that's been a driver for me to succeed. Honestly, it's kind of the best thing that happened. Best being like, it's motivated me. I didn't let it bring me down. It's you have your moments, and then you just kind of move on. It was very sudden too, with a heart attack. So yeah, I mean, hopefully you can use that as fuel. But I mean, 2020 has just been a disaster all around.
Mhm.
I mean, it just, I'm hopefully we can get out of this alive. You know what I mean?
Right.
All
We
of
got to
us.
survive this. We got to
Well,
survive. That's all we can do.
that's all we could do, man. I
That's
can't even
all
do
we can
that. But
do.
what's this? I
Carl
don't.
didn't.
What are these are they called monoliths? These things that are coming up everywhere. Do you see that?
I saw that one in, what was it, Utah, and now one some other country. Was it where's the other one at? I just saw
Yeah,
that they.
I don't even one. I can't remember. Was it Arizona? I don't even know. I have to Google this now. But yeah, they're everywhere now, man. It's like I think a third one just popped up.
Oh, third one. Well, the first one got stolen.
I think got removed, right?
Yeah, well, they wrote something in sand, basically it was supposedly stolen and ended up somewhere else. But I wanted to tell you that what was the road to sanctuary.
Right.
This whole COVID thing got me back into that. I had the spinoff miniseries that I started to produce back in 2016.
Okay.
It went to the wayside because I went on tour and my team moved on. But now all the footage is being post edited.
Okay.
So it looks like the road to Sanctuary, which I didn't know that Negan's hideout was going to be called Sanctuary. I started making the
Oh,
miniseries 2 years before, 3 years, right? three
yeah.
years before that even came into play. So yeah, that's why we're still doing the acting thing and all that stuff. But 2020 has been a train wreck, but
Yeah.
it's given me a lot of time on my hands. So and thank God for Saudi Arabia.
Well, what
I
happened?
did. We did the gig in November 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia and Riyadh, and it was such a huge show that they flew my entire set over, and so I got paid enough to allow me to last a good amount of this pandemic. So that was a lucky booking that I was able to.
So what is this show? Like what are you talking? This like a live show you do? Because when I saw you at a Comic-Con, you're in this booth, you can go in with you, you pin people up against the wall, you take a picture. Like, is this what you're talking about, or is there another show? Like I'm kind of confused on what show you're talking about.
Oh well, when I'm at my booth, it's just an interaction where you have a a walker in the booth and weapons, and we
Yeah.
take photos and such. The Road to Sanctuary is actually a mini series based on me being Rick's brother,
Okay.
and I drove all the way to Nevada to Las Vegas and filmed coming back to Florida on our way to Sonoy, which is Alexandria,
Right.
and it was just a spinoff, and it was going really well. And then things how things go. I got a few episodes in, and I never produced it or post edited it,
Okay.
so that still needs to be done so it can be released. So it's going to be a independent spinoff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I looked at it when all this stuff was happening. You could fold and just, surrender, or you can come out stronger. So I ended up creating something called Fan to Fan Network, which has all the top YouTubers for every NFL team all on one
Nice.
site, Fan to Fan Network. I created that. I just created this Joe Camo show this year as well. A lot of things came out of it that it could have gotten worse, but we try to prevail and try to come out stronger instead of folding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the second round is going to take out a lot of people,
Yeah.
and it's not been easy, not been easy, and who knows how many people got to get infected and get past it, so we can just move on.
Well, I want
Get
to
those
talk about this. Like now we're going to get into something totally different. Before I get into this, I want to talk about the virus real quick. But the monolith appeared in California on a mountaintop. That's a new one, I think, as of 18 hours ago. Now, when you guys, this is going to be an evergreen show because we're going to have a ton of people viewing this on YouTube for Walking Dead fans, I'm sure. But this monolith thing, one appeared on a mountaintop in California, and there was a bunch of them that disappeared. The second monolith apparently had disappeared. I don't know what all this stuff's about, man, to be honest with you, but it's just crazy. I
Yeah,
don't.
I mean, I look at this. Yeah, you got Utah, you got California, and there's one overseas. I thought there was one like in Iceland or something weird, and it's the same monolith. Um,
Like, I wonder what these things weigh. I'd be curious to see the weight
I
on
don't
them.
know, and they're saying that monolith, based on whatever their scientific calculation was there a few years before they found it in Utah.
Okay.
Which I don't know how they carbon date a monolith
I
or
don't know.
whatever, you know. But yeah, it's an interesting. It's like crop circles, you know.
Yeah.
The people have a lot of time on their hands, and so they're able to do something that catches people's attention. But it seems to be so slender that to be able to get it in those locations and not have it blow over
Right.
without some kind of certain base to it. It's very interesting to see.
Right. Well, let's talk about that the COVID thing here real quickly here. I mean, it's
Mhm.
just been crazy. Like, I
Oh,
know a lot of people have died from it, but if you look at the survival rate, again, I don't want to get into too much of topic or also little notifications are going to come on saying you need to fact check this and that. Like, I'm not going to get too much into it. I'm not going to get to percentages, but it's a very low percentage of people that it kills. That's all I got to say on this one. And a lot of businesses are being shut down because it's restaurants, gyms. But again, what I don't get is why are we not promoting how to build our immune systems and how to get stronger and how to fight this naturally, right? I mean, you can't win either way. Some people say, well, you got a vaccine. Then I'm not going to take a vaccine because I don't know the effects of it after, right? Like you could say this is the best thing since sliced bread. It's the best but number one, it's rushed. And number two, I don't know. You can't guarantee me that I'm not going to grow another hand 3 years down the road. It's just, you know
right.
what I mean? I don't know that. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on all this? Is this too much of a deep of a conversation for you, or you don't mind talking about it?
No, no, no. It's what we live in.
Yeah,
This is something none of us ever thought we'd see. This shut down the world,
right,
and we lived through this. Um, and to bring that up, in November, I came back from Biloxi, Mississippi, after gambling,
right.
and I was deathly ill for a month. Something with my lungs. And it was like, when you breathed out, it was crackling. It was, I mean, I wasn't even that sick as, when you're a kid, you get real sick and you're like,
Right.
never that sick. I had to go to two different doctors and I finally got over it. Well, I haven't, I've been around people. I've been, working at a bar, been working, I did my Vegas trip with my dad before he passed away. And I think I had it in November. They're saying now that people had it in December here
Okay.
in the United States before they announced it being, actually coming here in February. So if enough people have had it and recovered, my question is, do you take the vaccine because don't you have natural antibodies? And that's
I
something
do.
that hasn't been announced. They don't know, so that's one thing. Enough people have it and survive. They don't have to take the vaccine, or do we all have to take the vaccine to just be able to not get it again? And you're right. Vaccines have that stigma, but if it is just well, actually, it's not even the virus, a dead version of the virus. It's something else, some other technology that they're using to activate the antibodies for the virus, which is
mRNA is what it's called, I believe. It's called mRNA, and it's never been used from a vaccine that I know of anyway. And again,
there you go.
I'm not gonna know this, but from what I heard from a doctor, from what he said, is that our body naturally has something that kills off the virus, and by adding this, it's almost kind of like overkill for what you currently have. That's kind of where I'm at with this whole thing, right?
Yeah, so true, so true, and you're right that the vaccine is not working like a normal vaccine. So, but I heard today that they have to have a 60% worldwide take rate to be able to get herd. What do they call that?
Herd
Herd
immunity.
immunity.
Yeah.
And I mean that 60% of the planet. That's pretty. That's a pretty steep number. And if there's something wrong with that vaccine at all, that's over half the population of the planet that could be affected by some, you know, later condition, which so it's a lot to weigh out. Obviously, if you have any kind of health condition that would make you extra susceptible to passing away by this thing,
Right.
you have to take it. I mean, that's kind of the situation where you'd be in a bubble your whole life, the rest of your life, trying to avoid it because you could, the chances are you will pass away from this disease, which then your weight of risk and reward gets in the right direction where you say, okay, I can take it. But again, if we all don't jump on board, is this going to be every winter?
Yeah.
You know, so it's something to really ponder. It's a tough question. It's a
Yeah, I thought it'd be
it's
fitting to talk to you about this out of all people because of the apocalypse and the zombies and
Oh, I was ready for it. The first time I heard, I went and got my canned goods and ammunition, and I was all ready for this lockdown.
I'm actually based out in Toronto area. I don't know if you knew that yet, but I'm
Oh
actually,
no, I didn't know that. I love
yeah,
Toronto. That's beautiful,
yeah, I'm in
beautiful place.
Toronto area. I'm between Niagara Falls and Toronto actually. So I'm in that area there. So yeah, I mean it's cold up here. You're in Florida, it's a little
Oh
different for
yeah,
you. I want to get out of here. I don't like the cold. I don't like the fact that I mean, sure it gets dark in other places as well pretty early now with daylight savings and all this stuff when it hits October, but it gets cold. And if your nose, like this is the decision I'm going to make. I said, I got to find a way to move down south somewhere or something like that. Because here's how I look at it: if my nose hairs freeze from the time I get to my door to my car, and it's a 3 foot walk, I know I'm in a place that's way too cold, and I got to get out of here, man. I got to get out of here,
Right.
Cecil. It's got to happen soon.
Florida's the place to be. You know, if there was anywhere in the North America that I would live, and I've been a lot of places, it would be California or Florida. So when you weigh the cost of living in California, the fires, the earthquakes, just everything, Florida made the cut. Obviously, with global warming, we may be underwater in 10
Yeah.
or 20, 30 years. But yeah, Florida, no state tax, you know, um, all the benefits, and I think they're talking about doing the filming credit. You know how Atlanta
Right.
exploded for the filming industry because they get 30% discount
Right.
on their whatever because they put the Florida symbol on their major motion picture. If
Okay.
Florida does that, this place is going to be a mecca. And I'm in Melbourne,
Okay.
which was an undiscovered area. Beautiful beaches, great cost of living. It's just big enough to enjoy, but it's small enough to be comfortable. And then Orlando's 45 minutes, everything's. But everybody figured out Melbourne about a year or two ago, and this place is just exploding now, especially because of the space industry. But
I
if you're
like.
coming down, yeah, Florida's the place to be. Just make sure you get below that freeze line.
Yeah, I'd be curious to, it'd be interesting if I shaved my head again and got into character. I think I could probably stand beside you as Shane. Do you have a Shane guy that works with you or no?
I've got one Shane guy. Where is he from? He's up from upstate New York. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure, and he's got a spot on. He's really running with it, but he
So
has not been in my booth before. So yeah, yeah, I'm
just
still
one
open.
time, just a one-time thing. I want to be Shane. Just,
There you
for.
go.
I'll shave my head. I'll lean up again, and I'll wear his outfit, and we could just take a picture and see if I look like him.
I'll put some latex across the top of your nose where it's broken, and
Yeah, yeah.
I've done that for people before. It's
Right.
great.
I gotta do that once. But in regards to location, I'm thinking like a lot of people moving out of California. Obviously, tax is a big thing. Obviously,
Hmm.
earthquakes another thing. Obviously, forest fires being another thing. Obviously, a lot of politics, a lot of division there. Everything closing down. There's so many things going on in California right now. People don't like the governor there, whatever what's going on with him. There's a lot of drama there. So I'm gonna avoid the drama. I'm thinking either if I move either Texas. I heard Texas is a really nice place. Have you been there?
I used to live there. I'm from the Dallas area.
Would you prefer there or Miami? Your opinion?
No, definitely Florida.
Really?
Texas is a boom town for the economy, but you're landlocked. You've got the
Okay.
random lakes here and there,
Right.
but I'm a water guy, man. You're close to the beach. You're close
Right.
to the amusement parks. You're close to all these places where people go to vacation and say, "Oh, if I could just live here."
Yeah.
Well, go down there and live there, and then you don't have to say that anymore. You're in
I,
paradise.
I think I'm kind of sold. Another place I was thinking about is Tennessee. Is that a nice place? Like Tennessee?
I lived in Huntsville, Alabama for 3 years, right on the border of Tennessee and Alabama. And again, Nashville is a beautiful city, but it's just
Water.
not the water. The water it changes everything,
Right.
and you have winters in Tennessee, you know. Down here, you got a tan year round. Like night now it's had a cold break. I don't. This is the coldest it's ever has gotten. I think it may have got down to 40 last night.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, yeah, it's Florida's place to be. And right now, it's like I said, the taxes are great, the cost of living's great, and you can go from to edge. You can be in Key West in 7 hours, Miami 3, Orlando 1. You got St. Pete, beautiful. If you want the golf side, because the water is beautiful and clear and never really rough, and the sand is beautiful and white. It's literally like being in a resort, but you live there.
I think I'm
Um,
sold. I think I'm
yeah,
sold on
baby.
Florida now. Now that you've kind of sold me on because I was thinking Tennessee, but yeah, you get snow there, here and there. Very not as bad here in the Toronto area, obviously, but I think California, like I said, yeah, I don't want to go into a forest fire or a potential earthquake. I think, but then you guys are susceptible to tsunamis and all that stuff, right? If you got to live inland a little bit, you're a little safer, right?
Yeah, we do have hurricanes. That's the beast of Florida. Everybody's got their thing. You got tornadoes in the Midwest. We have hurricanes, and hurricanes are a big deal because they're causing our homeowners insurance to go up every year and all of that. But as long as you live inland, if you want to go high pro and live like a star and go beachside, you got to be able to take the hit because
Weather the
everything.
storm.
Yeah, yeah, and there's some new construction options that are going to be a lot more resilient than they've ever had before.
Yeah.
And not talking about that now, but I'm part of that. So that's a
Yeah.
big thing coming. Um, but yeah, living inland, I'm right now. I'm 10 minutes. I could get in my car in 10 minutes. I'll be on the beach, but I'm inland, and I've weathered every hurricane. And all I did was lost some shingles after getting hit 3 times.
Oh, okay.
So and my screen enclosure, obviously. So yeah, and as long as you're close enough to enjoy the beach, I would stay away from the salt because
Yeah.
you're replacing your AC every 3 years.
Yeah.
Your car starts to rust. But again, if you can have a little place on the beach and then have your other place, there's a lot you can do. Miami's a little bit of a question though. Yeah, it's beautiful, but you do have a spike in cost of living. It's expensive to live in Miami. You got the crime to deal with, so it's better to live in a more comfortable place and just go there when you want to have fun.
I've been to Miami. I played Grand Theft Auto a few times. The Vice
Yeah,
wasn't that
right.
Vice City? Is that a good one?
Yeah, and we can surf. You can come down here. We can longboard.
Yeah, but I've been to Florida. I think once I went to Disneyland way back in 2005 with the ex, and yeah, I just haven't gone back to. But now I have kids. I'm happily married. I have 2 kids. We are due for a Florida trip. I want to do Disney, and I have a huge passion for Universal Studios. I love the
Yeah.
simulation rides. That is
Hmm.
the best, and I've been dying to get back out there and just do Universal Studios again. I had so much fun in the simulation rides. I like that stuff.
Yeah, a story about that. I was actually I shot on the Florida's largest green screen is in one of the studios in on Universal's property, the Dave School, digital audio video. They're a graphics school, and
Right,
they're on the site. So they had me bring in my full set, pulled into one of those giant production areas,
right.
and we did shoot there. It's like you're in Hollywood,
Wow.
in Universal Studios on the backstages. It's not part of the park. It's in the back. So there's so much excitement. There's so many things you get into, and especially entertainment. We are 7 hours to Atlanta.
Right.
If I had a call and I had to do a movie or be in anything, you're still close enough. You can do
Yeah,
that and then come
definitely.
back come back to the warmth.
So I
It's
got to
good.
ask you, what's next for you now? I think we kind of talked about it briefly. You've got
Mhm.
all these projects going on. So where do you see yourself going 5 years down the road with the situation? I mean, aside from the world situation, I mean, with the Walking Dead situation, do you see yourself being this guy for life, or playing as this guy for life? Because I think you're going to be good for years and years and years and years. People are going to know this show. I mean, you can walk around technically as Michael Knight from Knight Rider if you really want. That character is still remembered. And that was what, 70s, 80s, right? That was like, these characters are larger than life. So I mean, this guy, you're good for a while. Do you continue as this Rick Grimes for a long time? Is this what you love doing?
Yeah, I'll continue doing Rick as the big shows, contact me. Doing the smaller shows is it just doesn't balance out for pay and what goes into it to do my whole set. But it really depends on what Rick does next. Look at Bernthal. He went from being Shane to the Punisher.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, and the one thing that Rick did while he's still in The Walking Dead and limited capacity is he did some romantic, it was a very weird movie where he had a troubled child, and so it wasn't one of those blockbuster things like Rick Grimes. So I'm hoping that he's going to get into something more, hey, do 007, Rick. I'll retire on you,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that. So it depends on what he's going to do. Yeah, there's always going to be nostalgia for Rick. It just got to be that our attention span is what, 10 seconds now.
yeah,
We're a we're a text world, so he's continually got to be in the forefront to get the volume of excitement that it would take to continue doing him. And I see I can do this for a few years because Walking Dead's still here, but when that tapers, I'm hoping he's going to do something big.
yeah. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you coming on. I got to wrap this up here,
All
but
right.
yeah, how do they find you? Can you shout out your stuff?
Yeah, yeah. I'm across all social media platforms as Cecil Grimes Cosplay. Twitter is Cecil G Cosplay, and the big thing that I'll be jumping back into is my Twitter. I'm sorry, my Twitch. So you can come watch me kill zombies on Twitch at Cecil Grimes Cosplay, and my YouTube channel will have the miniseries trailers, and again, that's Cecil Grimes Cosplay. So
Yeah, we talked about it before the show. You got to get a PS5, and then you and I are gonna smash zombies together because I'm getting good at
that'd
this
be
game. I'm
awesome.
really getting good.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm getting
Now,
good.
which game is it?
Call of Duty, the Cold War one.
The Cold War. Now I can. It's cross. Is it cross platform like
I
the
think
other
you
games?
can. I think you might be able to.
Yeah, I think the original Call of Duty is cross-platform, so I can just get it from my PC and be right up there until I pull the trigger on the PS5.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm on PlayStation Network, so I'm not sure. I mean, if you guys are a tech nerd, like I don't know, like some people that listen to this stuff, I'm not. I'm nerdy, but I'm not like this techie. Let us know in the comment. Like, I don't know. You probably know how to link this up. I don't know. Probably
Yeah,
Google it.
yeah, no, it's all done within the program. I think now that I'm thinking of it, there's a little symbol next to each person that's playing in your multiplayer, and
Uh-huh.
it'll have a mouse or it'll have the console
Oh, okay.
symbol.
Yeah, I think I saw something on that. I just haven't paid attention. I'm just playing with people on PlayStation Network because I see people playing like PS4. I think there is some cross play for sure.
Yeah, all I need is your handle, so I can friend you in within the game.
Okay, we got to shoot some zombies. So we got to go
Yeah,
now. I
baby.
gotta go tonight. We're shooting zombies. So,
All right, I'll pull the trigger.
all right. Well, thanks for being on, Cecil. So I appreciate you doing an amazing job for what you're doing. I'm very impressed. And again, my goal is just to get people on here that are very interesting. I got some huge guests coming on soon, including, like I told you, it's not even for sure, but Ken Shamrock is supposed to happen soon. So I'm excited about that one.
Nice, nice, very nice.
So
Well,
make
we'll definitely have to keep in touch. It sounds like you're doing awesome.
yeah,
Keep
thank you.
surviving,
I'm surviving, Carl. I'm
surviving,
changing my name to
Coral.
Carl. Well, thanks, guys. We're out. Appreciate you.
Talk